welcome into episode number 6 of the Justapod podcast. My name is Craig Bowen, and it's time to venture in and talk a little girls basketball here with his 22nd year, by the way, just beginning, and we're 6 games in. It's Andy Braunel. Thanks so much, Coach, for joining us on Justapod.
Hey, thanks for having me on. Excited to get rolling.
Yeah, 22 years this is in the business, and you've been teaching in the district for 33 years. I think I kind of want to talk a little bit about the history. I mean, there's a lot of it at Neenah. Basketball at Neenah is almost a religion to a certain extent. And the girls and boys both have had tons of success, even yourself. I mean, you talk about 2 years ago, a state run. I guess maybe talk about your tenure there at Neenah and just how big of a deal is it to just keep that tradition rolling and continue to win at the sport of basketball?
Well, I think there definitely is a very rich tradition. You look back at like what basketball is like here in the 70s and 80s. Neenah was kind of like the mecca for both girls and boys basketball. The success level of it, obviously, what Ron Anderson did on the guys side and what Gene Kessler did on the girls side. Just 2 legendary coaches, Hall of Fame level coaches that just really just put their mark on the program. Boys kind of had a few small little ups and downs, but they've been mostly up. We had a little lull after that, after Gene left, and that's been a goal of ours to try to get us back on that map and try to reestablish the girls basketball and get it back in. And it's, after 22 years, would love to say we're exactly where we want to be, but that's the situation. I think with high school sports today, that it's kind of a fluid environment. But all in all, just proud of the growth that our program has experienced in the last 22 years, and just been blessed with some great people, great adults who's helped coach, parents, booster club members, and obviously some phenomenal kids. That I feel like we're in a really good spot where our program is right now.
Yeah, the girls' first state championship back in 1978, the first ever, and then runner-ups before that in 76 and in 1980. And then, of course, your ball club 2 years ago getting to the championship game and losing to Arrowhead by 10. But let's talk about your team. Off to a nice start, 5-1 overall, 2-0 in the FVA. And one thing we talked about the other day, and this is pretty interesting because you mentioned it to me, there's not too many teams out there that can say they're going to play the Division I state championship team, Kimberly, twice.
Yeah.
And then you've already played Wauwatosa East, the Division II state champion. Talk about that a little bit and how you're just kind of building your schedule, your non-conference schedule, and really getting ready for the run in the FVA.
Yeah, that's always the unique thing with the FVA, with us having 10 teams. That's 18 conference games. So it's been nice now that we've been up to 24 regular season games. We were able to get a little flexibility with that non-conference schedule. For the longest time, we were at 20. That was only 2 non-conference games. So you had to kind of choose wisely there. And just knowing what a meat grinder the FVA is, night in and night out. But with the flexibility of 6, definitely gives you that opportunity to schedule some really challenging non-conference games. We have Wanakee coming up that should have been over Kettle Moraine weekend over Thanksgiving, but that was snowed out. So we have them coming up on Martin Luther King Day in mid-January. That'll be a phenomenal test. Great game. 2 great teams. Obviously, the Wauwatosa East game, probably safe to say for about 55-60% of the game, that was a very competitive game. We just got stuck on 41 for felt like a couple weeks. It was actually about 8 minutes of game time, but when you're in one of those runs it against you, it feels like forever. But that's a great team in Tosa East with how many kids they bring back. So you want that challenge. You want some of those tests, see where you're at. What do you need to work on? And really happy with how the girls have responded from the lessons we learned from that game against Wauwatosa East.
Yeah, I think I commented on that game. You probably learned more in a 30-point loss in that game than you would have got out of a 30-point win over a lesser opponent.
For sure. It definitely did, because it exposes every little thing that maybe in a lesser non-conference game, some things that you can kind of get away with, maybe our athleticism, maybe some of our skill kind of can make up for and cover against a team like Wauwatosa East. You got to have all 3 levels. It can't just be skill. It can't just be athleticism. You also got to be executing the right way as well. So it really helped highlight some of those things and gets you ready for the FVA season, because there are no nights off in the Fox Valley Association with what this conference is like.
Yeah, and speaking of no nights off, you just got out of a shoot-around. You have your 3rd FVA game this evening as we record on December 12th, Friday, Appleton West, and you got Oshkosh North on Tuesday, and then a week from tonight you travel to Oshkosh West. Let's get into this roster a little bit. One thing that our listeners and viewers are going to find, your girls are multi-sport athletes. And that is one thing that I think as a community, as a sports world, if you will, at the high school level, we've gotten away from that a little bit. And it's nice to see that your girls just don't play basketball 10, 11 months a year, right? They are multifaceted athletes. And I'm going to start with your two seniors. And these girls can shoot it up, and the last name is Klesmet. So that automatically means they're a good basketball player. So Rowan Klesmet, talk about her game. And then we're going to get into Ellie Buss as well, her running mate in the backcourt.
Absolutely. And those two, great to start with those two because they play off of each other so well. Just a great natural on the court chemistry, which we've been blessed to kind of have the passing of the torch, if you will, where, we had a kid like Allie Zabel, but Allie had some great running mates. Ava Cook, who was first team all conference kid with Allie, those two playing together. And then it was Allie and Rowan playing together, and then now it's Rowan and Ellie playing together. We've got a couple other young guards on the team that are learning from them, so it's just kind of created that nice internal learning from each other and building off of each other. And speaking specifically with Rowan, just a kid who comes from a basketball pedigree, a basketball family. Like, that is, one time, as her dad told me many years ago, we were talking about practice times and gym time, and he made it kind of like a joke about a Sunday, like, well, hey, this is our church. Now, not totally, but it kind of is. They're the family religion to a certain extent. They just eat, live, and breathe the sport. And so a kid like that comes in with that knowledge. And when a kid like that is so incredibly coachable and another leader on the court and just a top-notch human being on top of a phenomenally skilled basketball player, that puts you in a really good position as a coach to really put a team together that's going to experience some success. And Rowan's a gigantic part to that.
And the big part about that is the fact that you have those two senior leaders.
Yeah.
What does that do for some of these younger ladies? And I'm going to get into Celia Gentile, a junior, Carly Baltus, a junior as well. But you have some younger talent below that. We're talking sophomore. And I want to get into a freshman by the name of Farah Danforth, who is starting for you guys as a freshman. But maybe talk about those two seniors and how they can really motivate these younger girls to become even more talented than they already are.
Yeah. And, we gave our props in our show to Rowan. We got to make sure that, we're hitting Ellie Buss too, because E-Bus can fill it. That girl can shoot it and she can work off the ball to get open. And what she does, and she's got such an incredibly quick release on that three that it's just crazy. I talked to her today at shoot around where Tuesday we struggled a little bit at Manitowoc. Manitowoc played a phenomenal game against us. Riley Garvey, a younger coach, doing great things at Manitowoc Lincoln, had those girls ready to go. And we needed a really good second half. And Ellie Buss and Rowan Klesmet came through big time for us. I don't have the number exactly off the top of my head, but I want to say those two probably put in 40 to 42 points for us in the second half, just those two. So when the team needed it, they step up and the girls feed off of them so much. And Ellie's just such a great shooter and has really worked hard to become a good defender, really solid distributor, helps run the offense as well. So you put her and Rowan together who can just kind of play off of each other. It's a great learning experience for kids like Celia and Alyssa and Carly. And then obviously some of the other younger kids that you talked about too, that it helps all of them. And when those two are cooking, everybody else just plays off of them beautifully. And it's almost like, orchestra in motion that you're seeing when they're all on the same page cooking like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a quartet, right?
Yes.
Barbershop quartet. Yeah. Everybody in rhythm, right? Absolutely. So Alyssa Ebel as well. Izzy Malloy, talk about some of these returning letter winners. I already talked about Celia and Carly, but maybe talk about them individually if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's start with Celia. I mean, that kid, you talk about a freak, phenomenal athlete. It's Celia Gentile for sure. Has won, state long jump, state triple jump, goes in the 100. I mean, you name it. You could probably put her out there on almost any event and she would do well. We've tried to tease her into maybe trying pole vault, and she said, no way, I'm not doing that one. I think if she set her mind to it, she could do that too. I mean, she's just a crazy athlete, phenomenal tennis player too. So literally she's had 5 trips to state already in her young high school career, which is crazy to think about. Actually, sorry, I lied, 6. All right, because she had her fall season in this year. So, I mean, how many kids have 6 trips to state period in their entire high school? And here she is, barely over halfway through her high school career, and has been to state 6 times in 3 different sports. So, and
Wow.
bringing home medal and hardware from those trips. So, just a great athlete. And she's really slowly and progressively gotten better and better as a basketball player. And she was one where her freshman year, we brought up to varsity, kind of broke the mold of what we typically do, where if we don't feel like a freshman is going to play 8, 10, 12 minutes a game, we wouldn't think about bringing them up. But we had a special situation with that UConn and, Team USA kid and Ali Zabel on the team, where you're like, hey, Celia is going to practice and go against and try to guard Ali Zabel every practice her freshman year. So even if maybe she's only playing 4 minutes a game on average, there is no substitute for that learning. And you
Yeah.
saw it on full display literally from the very get-go last year as a sophomore, the type of lockdown defender that she really was for us and continues to be for us. So she brings a lot to the table for us. Carly and Alyssa, two other kids who are just really long, athletic kids, both, especially Carly, phenomenal softball player as well. And Alyssa had been a softball player too, but now just kind of found her love for basketball and has steered more in that direction. But those two just give us a really good tandem. As if one start, you try to keep at least one of those two on the court at all times. Long, lanky, athletic kids who play their role well, play good defense, get rebounds, attack the basket, just do those little things that really help free up the shooters of Ellie and Rowan and some of the other kids as well. So those type of kids who, I hate to say role players because that sounds like they're really not important, but for a team to work well together, not everybody can be like the alpha dog. You have to have people who play those
Right.
complementary roles, and those are two kids that do that super super well. And you mentioned Izzy Malloy, if she was with us last year as a freshman on varsity. Adjusted to Neenah really, really well. Neenah high school, she's just growing. She's I likened her to the TJ McConnell kid from the Indiana Pacers, which again is a diehard Bucks fan. Pacers, but she brings that energy, that defense, that grittiness, and she played some huge minutes down the stretch for us against Hortonville last Friday, and then Tuesday against Manitowoc, where you just really need some stops. You needed a kid who could get out there and help pick up the ball and really defend, and she does that. Another young kid, Sid Mickelkavich, phenomenal shooter. We played Appleton North last week, Tuesday. Rowan was out sick, so you got your leading scorer, floor general, gone. You're going against a team 3-0, undefeated at their place, opening game of the FVA season, and Sid, stepped up big time, had a career high. I think she had 14 points for us, 4 threes, including the three with about 15 seconds left that put us ahead to seal the game. So to have kids like that who can step up in those moments and contribute, our offense was kind of struggling Tuesday. Sid came in and gave us a spark right away. Just having those kids that excel in those type of roles are just means so much to the team and just makes us so much better.
Yeah, it's an interesting roster the way it sounds because you got kids that can do a lot of different things
Yes.
on
Yeah.
both ends of the court, right?
Yeah.
50-50 balls. I'm sure you got kids and you're talking about it right now. I mean, when that ball goes on the floor, there's going to be some strawberries on the knees, correct?
Absolutely. Well, that's why they all wear knee pads. All right, so they wear those knee pads because we want to be the first one on the floor going to get it. So, and then you mentioned Farah Danforth, a freshman who just has a huge upside. She's a kid that her game's just going to keep getting better. She's just an absolute sponge. Has had a lot of no D1 offers yet, but has had some nice visits to some pretty substantial, good-sized schools from some power conferences. She's just going to be one that just continues to get better and better, and really helping us out in the post this year. Where we graduated 2 really good post players last year to really help fill that role in that void. And her and another junior, McKenna Fryer, really helped kind of anchor that position for us that give us a lot of flexibility. McKenna's a little more of the physical box out one, get after it, bang away a little bit more. Farrah can do some of that, but has a little bit more of the offensive game to go along with it as well. So it just gives us a lot of flexibility, a lot of options with the roster.
Yeah, and that's what you need. You need depth to compete
Yes.
in the FVA, that is no doubt. Visiting with Andy Braunel here, by the way, on the Justapod. 309 victories, by the way. That's what my notes say, so I'm going to trust it that it's
Sounds good.
accurate. Yeah.
It's got to be in the range. I don't know for sure exactly where we were at. I'll be honest with you, that 300 number kind of crept up on us last year, and all of a sudden you're like, holy cow, we're a couple away. What's going on? So it's nice, but yet it's uncomfortable as a head coach because it sounds like it's something you did and you didn't as head coach. You don't. It's something that it's a program number, it's a staff number, it's a parents and a booster club and a program number where One, and also quite honestly, a school district number two, that in our 22
Yeah.
years, there've been a couple rough stretches where we had some downturns, had some rough stretches with injury, that you really are blessed to have all those people behind you to give you that opportunity just to keep going and keep grinding it out and keep trying to get better.
It's kind of like football sometimes, right? The quarterback,
Mhm.
it's all him,
Oh
right?
yeah,
It's all the quarterback. That couldn't be further from the truth, especially
no,
in football. And
absolutely.
basketball is no different, really. It's not the coach, it's not one player. It's not Ali Zabel that got you to state. Okay. It
Yeah.
surely helped.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
get me wrong.
for sure, for sure.
Yep.
Um, while we're just before we move on, I want to just kind of wrap up the roster talk, because we got some other
Yes.
great kids that we didn't mention, that you talk about what makes a team. And our thing has always been, when we can make drills in practice or segments in practice feel like game type action, that's when your teams really become great. And we've had some really good teams, some conference championship teams that went to state multiple times, got to about 5 sectional finals, over the years. So, and all of those teams had one thing in common: they were deep and they competed and they made practices feel like games at times.
Yep.
And some of these kids don't get a lot of game minutes because, well, you only got so many minutes to go around. And when you got some kids like Klesmet and a Bus and Celia Gentile, you got some kids that are going to take a lot of minutes. So some of these kids have to be okay with that. And, kids like a JB Kennedy, Libby Yankee, who just every day just grind it out and just bring it every day. And if the JV1 team is a little light on kids, hey, I'll go play with them. They just want to get on the court and play and compete. And that says so much about who they are as people and their character. And then two other kids that are a little banged up right now that we're trying to get back in the fold with Alex Scooten and Lexi Davis. Both of those two so many of these kids are multi-sport athletes, whether it's track, tennis, golf, that they're in other sports, cross country, that they bring so much to the table. And Alex and Lexi, two really good post players that we're excited to get back, and we're kind of getting them back in the fold from some injuries, some health issues. So it gives us a really, 13 kids that are just really, really come together well, but all play off of each other really well.
Yeah. What a roster. What a roster. And there's a great future here. You got those two seniors, but like
Yeah.
we've been talking about, a lot of young blood here in this program, no question about it. Let's get into the conference a little bit. This FVA is just crazy good on both sides, boys and girls. It's one of the best conferences, if not the best, in all of the state of Wisconsin. And it starts probably, I know your whiteboard, if you're putting teams in an order and the one you're focused on and all the way down, it's got to be the paper makers, right? The other team that wears red, state champions of Division One. Dave Lepisto has just an unbelievable job with that
Yes.
program. Maybe start with the paper makers and work your way down and just talk about how this season is going to stack up in the FVA. And obviously, you're going to be right there in the mix.
You're right. Absolutely starts. Hey, defending D1 state champion. Yep. That's where you start, and especially a D1 champion team that brings back the kids that they bring back. Yeah, they graduated a lot of really good talent from that team last year, and collegiate level athletes who are getting part of their, if not all of their college paid for. That tells you what they graduated. But they bring so much back, and they create such unique matchup issues with you, with their length, their shooting, their ball handling, a couple just super gritty guard defensive players that just will get in your shorts and just try to do everything they can to disrupt your ability to get your offense rolling. It does start with them, and that's a tough one to crack. And they've already been battle tested, playing some really good teams. Got a great matchup tonight with Appleton East, and then tomorrow, the 13th of December, they go down to Wauwatosa East and play the defending two state champions.
Wow.
So that'll be a heck of a matchup. So just looking forward to see those teams, how they match up. We don't see Kimberly until January, so even though we know they're out there, this has been a really good group for us, where we've really been able to dial in on who's right now, and our focus is on that team that we got right ahead of us. So second team that you probably have to mention would be Hortonville. We played them last week Friday. It's Hortonville. They're always going to be up there. That's a
Yep.
solid program, well-coached team, always a lot of talent. And that was just a phenomenal game last Friday that we had with Hortonville. Just a dogfight, a super physical, grinded out. Every possession was like a slug match. Just a really good, hard-nosed, physical basketball game, which it's kind of gotten to the point where you expect that the last 5-6 years. You kind of expect that with Neenah and Hortonville when they match up.
Yeah, Hortonville 14-4 last year in the conference, tied for second with you guys. So yes, indeed. They are for real. Other teams, Appleton East,
Yes.
they get the state last year. They get themselves a big upset win in the postseason, and Brian Passion did an unbelievable job getting up to Green Bay.
Brian's a great coach, great guy, a great staff of people there as well. And I think they have some young talent. I think some people may not, look at who graduated. They're discounting, if they do that, that's a big mistake because you're discounting that guard talent that they have. And then they have a Post and Jasinski who's just, better be ready to guard her. She's going to create space and get to the bucket when she wants to and clean up the board. So a lot of talent there, a lot of really good guards on that team that you better, again, be ready for. And Brian, they run a really disciplined offense that if you're not spot on with your defense, they're going to exploit you and they're going to get you on with some screens and some down screen actions, flex looks that, they're going to get those inside touches on you if you're not careful.
And you have them coming up a couple days before Christmas. So that one will no doubt be a big matchup. Maybe talk about Kaukauna a little bit. They had a nice little year over 500. I think they were 10-8.
Yes.
In the conference. So some gains there for the Ghosts. Talk about them.
Yeah, Rob does a great job. Thing with Kaukauna, you better be ready for just about anything under the sun. That's one where when you're practicing, you better have a smorgasbord of defenses that you're running against yourself. You don't know which one of those ones that Rob's going to pull out to try to get you. And thing is, he's going to do what he thinks is best for the matchup for his team to try to slow you down and make your life miserable. And last year, we split with them last year, had a great shooting game at their place, didn't shoot so well at our place, and a lot of that had to do with their defense that they threw on us. So that's always a tough matchup. Again, that's not a team till we see them both times after break, but we know those two will definitely be two definite dogfights. Another one in there too, Oshkosh West. Kiki does a great job with them. They switch on a ton. They're going to try to always disrupt your rhythm, your flow on offense, and again, Neenah is one of those teams that will always get the best shot from Oshkosh West. The Wildcats get fired up, jacked up to play the Rockets for sure every time. We will get the best shot guaranteed. And even if that's a game, even if you are able to get a little bit of a lead, which is hard to do, they're going to come roaring back every time. So that's just a team that it's going to be a full 36-minute battle every time, whether it's there or here, wherever it is, it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, should be a fun season. Always is in the FVA, but I want to close with this, and I talked to you about this the other day a little bit. I think I commented how comfortable you are in front of a camera, believe it or not, speaking about basketball. So I got to ask you, people are familiar with this, I'm sure, if you pay attention to the state basketball tournament girls. You might have seen this guy, Andy Braunel, on the air doing some color commentating. I know you love doing it, but there is a negative to it. If you're commenting and on a broadcast at the state tournament, that means you're not playing in it, right?
Yeah. I'm 100% okay not doing it because that means that we're there, which is obviously priority number one. And 2 years that we've been able to make it while I've been head coach. So obviously that's always the goal is to get back. But if you're not able to, if you get tripped up along the way, that's not a bad consolation prize. I would say though, probably definitely a little more of a face for radio. I mean, if we're going to be completely honest with you, but it's a great experience. And for me, I feel like it's you pour your heart and soul into the season. It is a 4.5 month long meat grinder for you personally as a coach. You're living and breathing every day, every game, every practice. You pour so much time into it that abruptness of that loss in the postseason can just because that group will never be quite the same again. When they take their jerseys off, you'll see them at the banquet, see them at other events. It's not quite the same, and just you miss that because you're certainly not coaching at this level for the salary. As a high school coach, that's certainly not it. You love the kids, you love the competition, you love the games, you love working with the kids, you love practices. And when that's over, there's a little bit of a heartache. I'm not going to lie to you. There's some tears shed. There's some emotions. It's tough for the kids and the adults too. But being able to call those state games, it's kind of like therapy where you pour some of that energy into like prepping for other teams. And even though it's not the same because it's not your kids, you still kind of pour yourself into learning those teams as best you can so that you're able to give them a good call and make sure that that's a memorable game and a memorable experience for them, their families, their friends, their loved ones.
Yeah, you're talking about salary. So the NIL is only for players then that hasn't gone to the coaching
Yeah,
ranks
no,
yet?
no, and definitely you're not quite seeing the parallel example from some of the collegiate salaries we've heard about recently transcending itself
Yeah.
down to the high school level. Certainly, yeah, no.
I'll tell you what, if that ever does happen, there's going to be a lot less coaching turnover. I will say that.
Yeah, you won't see a third of the coaches change over every year.
Correct. You'd have, yeah, men and women would coach
Oh yeah,
until they're in their 70s or 80s, like Jerry Pettigrew did
very
down
yeah,
at Cuba City. Yep.
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has been a pleasure. Good luck tonight, by the way,
Thank
Appleton
you.
West at home. Good luck the rest of the season. Have a great holiday season. Stay warm, too, by the way. It's going to be absolutely frigid this weekend, but I want to thank you for your time once again, Coach. Always a pleasure to catch up with you.
Thank you. I appreciate the time. Appreciate the opportunity, Craig. Thank you.
You bet. So Andy Braunel, it was episode 6 of the Justapod. And if you want to listen and or watch, you can get the audio version of this on Spotify and also Apple Podcasts. And if you want to watch it, which you're hopefully doing right now, obviously, you can view it on the Just a Game YouTube channel and on justagame.com as well. We are loading them up and we're spitting them out. Number 6 is in the queue as we speak. So thanks again, Coach Braunel, for joining us on Justapod.